So I can start, I think.
Yeah.
About presentation about rare Pyrenomycetes, or as we say, Pyrenomycetes in Germany, Pyrenomycetes. What do we want to know about this presentation? We have rare Pyrenomycetes. The first thing I want to explain is what do we understand?
Maybe we all get off the Wi-Fi per se.
Very rare species. I think I have found about I don't know 1,500 different species during the years, and I have just selected some which are very rare or expected to be very rare. And you can see the names here, and maybe you know some of these names, but maybe not. And I will explain any of these species so that we have some pictures and some descriptions so that we know what we're talking about. So let's start. What does rare mean in mycology? I think the term rare means that the species is rarely recorded, but that's not all, because species can also be rare when the mycologists are rare. So mycologists who do not know well the species groups, they will not record the species. So the species are rare because the mycologists are rare. And especially in Pyrenomycetes, it's just the problem that the species are rarely recorded because there are no books and literature. So anybody thinks they are undeterminable. So they are afraid of so these species, and because some are very small, as Danny already said, some are smaller than 100 micrometer in diameter. So they are not easy to see and not easy to find. And sometimes you have to find the special substrates, the hosts first, and then you have to check the hosts with a stereolooper, and you have to check the small fruit bodies, and you have you should have very good eyes to see them. That's the first hint you have to go through. And sometimes you have species groups. That is also a problem when you have, for example, Leptosphaeria acuta, which is very easy to find and very easy to identify. But if Leptosphaeria acuta is a species group, there are several other species which just look like Leptosphaeria acuta. And if you do not have a closer look, you will record just Leptosphaeria acuta and not the other species. So other species are just rare because they are called Leptosphaeria acuta, for example. Sometimes you also have species complexes, and it's just the species are the distribution and the ecological features are not well recorded and not well known, and so species are rare because we do not understand where they grow and why they grow. That's also a problem in a lot of species. So let's start with the pictures and names. There is Albicolum longisporum, described by Vogelmeier and al. And this is this has been described in 2022. And at first we have to know that there was a species called Helicogermslita, a very difficult name. And Helicogermslita just means that there is a germ slit coiling around the spore several times. That means Helicogermslita. And Vogelmeier and others have taken some research in this group, and they have found different species. It's not only Helicogermslita. There are several genera like Albicolum, and like some others which belong to Xylaria ceae. So it's the species with dark spores, as you see here on top, and with large apical plugs which react in iodine solutions. So this is like Xylaria, just one peritrichia embedded into the wood. And if you have a closer look, you can see the spores even lying around the osteolar region, like seen on top left. That are all spores. The small black things you see here are just the spores spreading around. This species has been found several times in Finland, in Germany, in Greece, in Spain, in Morocco, and I have seen it in May 2023 in Norway when I was at a small workshop about Basidiomycetes and other species, and we just take some holidays there, and we have found this species on attached twigs of Populus tremula. The Populus was a very nice substrate, having a lot of interesting species, not just this one, but also a lot of others. This species has been checked genetically by Vogelmeier. I have sent it to him, and it was checked, and it really was Albicolum longisporum. Here you can see the germ slit coiling around 3 times, so that you can see it's 3 times on one side of the spore. This is very, very strange and very rare, a very rare character in Pyrenomycetes, and you can see it just in a few species. And this is so typical. The spores are lying inside an ascus. You can see the ascus here in the background, likely, and the asci are the liquors. How do you say it? Zerfließen. Yeah. So that the spores are free in later time. So here is Apirhynchostoma Foray. That is part of the family Bulliniaceae, Bulliniales. It has been collected in Switzerland, but it is known from Europe, Australia, Central America, and North America. Interestingly, also in the tropics like Costa Rica. Here in Europe, it always grows on old wood of Abies alba. So it's very restricted, seemingly, and it always grows in old growth forests. So like in nature parks and so on. It's very, very rare, and it has a very rare character, which is not well known in Pyrenomycetes. Like the spores you can see here. Spores in Pyrenomycetes are sometimes hyaline, and sometimes they are colored. When they are colored, there's a question if they are colored yellowish or greenish or brownish. And a lot of species have septations in spores. You can see here 2 septations, which is very rare in Pyrenomycetes. They mostly have 1 septation, or 3 or 5 or 7, but 2 septations or 4 septations or 6 septations are very, very rare. And you can also see in the spore that they have 2 different colors. 2 cells are brown, and 1 cell is hyaline, which is called bicolores, and this is also very rare. So these spores are like 2 septations. Bicolores is a character which is typical for Apirhynchostoma Foray, and it's a really rare character, and also the species is rare. So this is Corylomyces selenosporus, described by I cannot spell his name. It's Chigel, Calderon Guaro in 2006, and they have described the species on hazelnut shells, and so it is called Corylomyces. Corylus is a hazelnut. So it really grows on hazelnut shells. It was found in France first, and was described from France. And the second record ever was taken, the third one is from Germany, from Wittenhohenstein, it's in Western Germany, and also on hazelnut shells. This is very, very rare, seemingly, because yeah, I'm not sure who looks for fungi on hazelnut shells. I'm not sure. You can have a look. Maybe you can find it. If you see the microscopy, the species has very slender asci. The spores are inside these asci like chains behind each other. And major spores are brown, as you see here on the right side. And they have a septation. This is very special. The bell-shaped spores with septation and also a small germ pore on one side. This is a character which is really unique in all Pyrenomycetes. This is only one species has these characters, so-called Korf, but it is not well illustrated nowhere actually, except in Schiegel in 2006. So you can find literature about it, but anywhere else it is not recorded or illustrated. So this is Dendrostoma atlanticum. It is in Via Portalis. This is a very large order with a lot of different species, mostly with spores with the septation in the middle, some oil drops, and sometimes with appendages, like you can see here on the right side. And asci are cylindric, mostly 8-spored, and have some very tiny apical plugs on top. You can see them as some small dots, but not more than that. You can stain them with congorat, which is a very interesting character here in Via Portalis. And this species here has been found in Europe only 3 times, like in France, in Spain, Slovenia. This record here is from Slovenia. It has been sent to me for determination, and I have determined it. I have identified it as Dendrostoma atlanticum, which has been described by Vogelmeier and Jaklic in 2019. So it's a very young species actually, and very rarely recorded from Europe. So there's a much more common species which is called Dendrostoma lifemia, which grows on quercus twigs. This is very common, this species, which has some similar characters, but without appendages. Here you can see both species on the left side, Dendrostoma lifemia, and on the right side, Dendrostoma atlanticum. You can see that the growth form of this Pyrenomycete is called balzoid, which comes from the genus Balsa, which means that some paraticia are embedded into host tissue in circles. And if you cut them down, like here, you can see it's some triangulate, likely embedded into the host surface, like in bark or in wood. So this is Dictyoporta. Dictyoporta is a very rare genus in Europe, all over Europe. And Dictyoporta has been just recorded several times, like the species Dictyoporta bipapillata, which is shown here on the left. There is Dictyoporta appendiculata in the middle on Arceopalus, and there is an undescribed species on Tilia, which is maybe also the Dictyoporta, but we do not know exactly. It just has some very similar characters. Microscopically, it's very similar because paraticia are black and embedded into host tissues, and the spores are also bicolorous, like in Dictyoporta bipapillata, but much smaller and only with a few septations. So the question is, which species is this? There is a key in Jaklic and Barr from 1997, which contains several species, but this year is not described. So there is a way to do sequencing and checking what that is. It's recorded only from Tilia. Probably it is substrate specific on Tilia, and only from Switzerland so far. These are the three species, always on wood, and always Paraticia embedded in the bark tissues. This is just some beautiful thing, Carnia nitida. It's a Pyrenomycetes which has some interesting form of Paraticia. Paraticia are usually globose, roundish, and here the Paraticia are some irregular forms. Sometimes like beans, sometimes like ant heads, like insect heads, very interesting. And they have some appendages growing out from both sides of the Paraticia, making it looking very strange. And Carnia nitida grows only on dung, on excrements of animals, and I have seen it on animal dung from Namibia, for example, also from Europe. So it's worldwide distributed because it only grows on dung, and this makes it very special. So if you see this, you have Carnia nitida. It's not so rare actually. I just wanted to show you some interesting and beautiful species. Okay, this year is Lectitutium duriligni. This is a species described by Replofer and Winker in 2001. Replofer is very famous for describing a lot of species in Chaetus ferialis, and so it's here. Chaetus ferialis is the order, and the family is Chaetus feriaceae. This also has been recorded from Czech Republic and Slovakia, and also from Norway. This is the first record from Norway, so it's the third record ever of this species. It grows on Malus, Silvestris, for example, but also on other wood, and it is very characteristic because it has very large spores. You can see here 40 micrometers around that. And with 7 septations, you can count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So actually, always 7 septations, and end cells are hyaline, and the middle cells are reddish brown, which is very characteristic. And this is a character which is very rare in Pyrenomycetes. I know only a few species having that, and the species itself is very rare, seemingly. What you can see on the left side is just a macro photo from the wood itself. When you don't cut the wood, you can see just a black dot. And if you cut it down, you can see the Paraticia completely embedded into the wood, like on the left side. This is Macrophasaria megalospora. I have recorded some samples from Brazil, which have been sent to me by ecologists, which actually have worked on lichens, and some of the collections were not lichens because there were ascomycetes of Basidiomycota. And this is a Pleosporales, the large order in Basidiomycetes, which is hardly understood. And you can see the spores on the right side, which are very, very characteristic. There's spores have very thick septation in the middle, and a shape of germ slits, which are just like baskets, which are on the spore surface. This is very, very characteristic and really unique character. And the species has been found just a few times in Brazil, in French Guiana, but also in Philippines and Thailand. So it's maybe just distributed in the tropics. And the Pyrenomycetes in the tropics are not well known. Back to Europe. We have this species here growing on Abies alba. Just some black globose Pyrenomycetes on the wood, growing directly on very old wood of Abies alba. And on the right side, you can see that there are spores lying all over the Pyrenomycetes. And that is not only one spore you can see here. The ascomycete eject all 8 spores together. So you can see the 8 spores attached together to each other and covering the Pyrenomycetes surface. This is very special in this time here. And when you cut Pyrenomycetes, you can see there is a inner wall, black inner wall, and a red-brown outer wall of very large global cells. This is very typical for the species, for the genus Paragoymonomyces. Not easy to spell. Paragoymonomyces abietinus. Abietinus means growing on Abies. So it's also on Abies alba. It's host specific on Abies alba. I have seen this species in Austria, which was the first record for Austria ever. And I have also seen it in Germany on the other side of the border, which was the first record for Germany. So it was then also recorded from Ukraine, from France, from Austria, from Slovenia. It's very rare, and possibly it grows only on Abies alba, and also only on very large wood lying on the ground. If you see the microscopy, you can see that there are 7 septations. Also, you can count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the middle cells are very long, and the outer cells are very short, which is very interesting. Usually, the septations are evenly distributed all over the spore, and it's not that the middle cells are longer than the outer cells. That is very untypical. So this is also very special. Virostoma candolei, or candolei. Candol was a mycologist, and this is part of the order Calospherialis. Calospherialis is not easy to identify. There are lots of tiny species in this group with tiny asci and tiny spores, as you can also see here on these photos. The microphotos show some balloon-shaped asci which have detached from hymenium, from hymenous structures, and so they are just floating around here, and they have some very tiny spores which just look like bacteria, very tiny, some like 1 or 2 micrometers long, very tiny. And you can also count the spores inside this asci, which is always funny, counting spores in those asci. Maybe there are 32 or 128 or 256. So actually, for a determination, for a reliable determination, you have to count spores in at least 10 asci. Okay. No, just joking. Okay. This has been found in Germany, in Europe, in Germany, in Czech Republic, and some other countries, and also in North America by Barr. But there's a good literature for this group, for the whole Calospherialis. Barr has described a lot of species, and so there are also records from US and Canada. But this is a very rare species. I have found it, or I have seen it only once. I have recorded it from the Czech Republic, and it is very special. I have never ever seen it anywhere. So, Sacchardoella separans, also very interesting. When I was in Norway, as you can see, Most of the records I'm showing here are from the last few months, which means I'm always finding interesting Pyrenomycetes, always, every day. And when I show them all, you will have a very large foray, a very long foray. I will promise you. This is also from Norway. When I was just 10 days in Norway, also on Populus tremula. I have told you Populus tremula is a very interesting substrate for Pyrenomycetes always. So if you have Populus in your area, it might be great to just look at what you find there. And I have found Saccardorella deferens very interesting because this species is really rare, only recorded from Canada actually, and this is the first record for Europe maybe. It has been described, or it has been illustrated by Barr in 1994. And as you can see on top of the photo, the spores are very, very strange and very interesting. You can count the septations here. You will see that there are about 20 or 24 septations, and there is a middle cell. Actually, the cells look all equal, all the same size, maybe, but the middle cell is very large, or larger than all the others. And this is very, very special and characteristic for this species called Saccardorella separans. There are other Saccardorella species. I have actually found two of them when I was in Norway, but the other one I have shown on Facebook, in the Facebook group, in our group Ascomycete of the World. So you can check there. So we have the next species, which is called Savoriella curvispora. This is also very rare, maybe only recorded in Asia, in Malaysia, but also now in Europe. That's maybe the first record for Europe. It has been found in freshwater on dead wood, and freshwater fungi or freshwater Pyrenomycetes are not well understood. Not even worse than all the other Pyrenomycetes, because in floating rivers in water, it's not easy to find them and not easy to identify them. Mostly they are not described. And this time here we have a species with bicolor spores. We already know what bicolor means, hyaline cells and brownish middle cells. This is very typical for Savoriella. And also when you see the Pyroticia lying on the wood or embedded into the wood, you will see that they are actually lying on the wood. They are plural, growing, and this is very typical for Savoriella and also for some other species. Now we have Scopinella. This is also interesting. If you can see this here, this is the Pyroticia. Actually, the Pyroticia is here on the lower side. And what you can see here is the rostrum area with the peritial opening on top of it. And the peritial opening is covered by brownish hairs all over. And the spores, you can also see some spores here, which are very, very tiny, covering those brownish hairs. And this is very, very characteristic and very, very special. I've only seen it once from Greece, when it was sent to me for identification, but it also has been found in Denmark, France, and UK. On the right side, you can see the spores, which are likely cubic, cuboid, and which have some very interesting ornamentation. It's like it just looks like an N or a Z, very special. And this is a character only occurring in Scopinella barbata. Here you can see a large photo of it. There you can see the Pyroticia on the right side, and there is a Pyroticia opening the rostrum, and the opening is here on behind all these brownish hairs covering covered by spores all over. So here's Testudina terrestris. Testudina terrestris has been found only in Europe, in Australia. In Europe, it has been found some sometimes in Germany, Belgium, Australia, Austria, Sweden, Luxembourg. And it is very, very rare. Mostly it is recorded just genetically when you take some soil and you just have the result that there is Testudina terrestris, but you don't see the fruit bodies. And at this time we have a collection growing on Juniperus, or no, not Juniperus, Thuja needles and Thuja twigs. There are just some very interestingly shaped blackish fruit bodies. They look like some circles or something like that. I'm not sure how to call it. And if you break them, you have millions of spores all over. And if you take that into a preparation with cotton blue, you can also see the ascii. You cannot see them in water; it's hardly visible. But if you take it in cotton blue, you can easily see those ascii all over. This is very rare. I've only seen it once. Then the last one, Ventimycete imbriatus, which is my favorite, my all-time favorite Pyrenomycetes, because this is very, very interesting in shapes. Like it's very, very small. Here you can see what it means when Pyrenomycetes are smaller than 100 micrometers. They are actually only 80 micrometers in diameter, not more than that. And you can see the Pyrenomycetes are globose, and they are covered by some interesting shaped setae, which are forked on their tops, and there are hyaline also on the tops, and this is very, very special. I've only seen it in several species which look like that. And Ventimycete imbriatus, I've only seen it twice. One time in Switzerland and the other time in Germany. This is very, very rare. I've only seen it twice, but maybe it's just rare because it is so small and it grows on plant debris of different sorts. I have seen it on leaves of silsium, on stems and wood remnants. It's just very small, and you have to check everything with very good eyes. Here you can see like how it looks like when you take it into when you look through the scope. It's just a globose fruit body with some hands up with just some very interesting looking setae all around. This is very special and very rare, probably. So that was it. Any questions out there?
We're all stocked.
No questions.
Bjorn, are there scale bars by chance at the bottom right of the screen? Probably. Yeah. But yeah, we're not seeing scale bars for something.
No scale bar.
No scale bar.
Huh? No. How do we know those are not conidiophores? Because they look like they should have spent conidia, don't they?
Conidiophores, yeah, but this conidiophores look similar in sometimes. That's for sure. But the tips of conidiophores are actually not really forked like it is seen here. This is would be very untypical.
Huh. Yeah, I mean they're weird. Appreciate. I want to get yours under the stove now. Yeah. We may have just collected this today.
Okay.
Judd has one that has a similar vibe.
How many of these do we have to find to get you to the next Korf Foray?
What do you mean?
How many of these rare Pyrenomycetes do we have to find to bribe you to get to the next Korf Foray?
When is the next Korf Foray?
Yeah, good question. We'll get back to you on that.
But also, what do the ascospores for this Ventimycete look like?
Sorry, I don't, I haven't understand that.
Oh,
I thought the microphone is here or
No,
here.
do you want to just repeat the question right there?
yeah, I was wondering what the ascospores for this one look like.
Ah, the ascospores, this here on the top is not the ascospore. This is just some alien thing. I'm not sure what that is. The ascospores look like they are some 8 micrometers long or 2 micrometers broad, and they have a middle septation, and they are hyaline. So actually not very special.
Huh.
But actually I can, if you want to see them, I can show them for sure. If you have the time to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
Nice.
just a second. I think I can actually also.
There are scale. No.
Maybe. Wait. Neue Freigabe. Aha. There we are. Just a second. Ah, you can see this. Okay. This is my structure here. Where you can see some species I have actually already found. And there is Ventimycetes and Ventimycetes, there's Ventimycetes. I don't see it. Ventimycetes fimbriatus. So on Cesium, I have some spores. They just look like this here.
Are there other species in this genus?
Yeah. Do you see this? No, you cannot see this because
Not yet. There was a question, is this genus monotypic or are there other species?
there are other species described in the same genus. And wait a minute, I have it here. So you can see them, right?
Yeah.
Just some hyaline spores. Nothing to say about these spores because it's just some small asci and just some small spores. That's all.
Huh.
Okay.
Fascinating.
There are several species in this genus. There is a literature. What did I say? What the literature is? The literature is the Wilk et al. 2014, which has some I think I don't know 3 or 4 species or somewhat like that.
Very cool.
Actually, I've seen dozens of them. It's very interesting characters of like Sete, sometimes like that, sometimes like others, which is also always very interesting. When I want to show you all the interesting species I found, as I said, that would take some time.
Well,
Next time.
perhaps when it's not 2 o'clock in the morning in Germany, we can have some more time with you. But in the meantime, thank you very much, Bjorn, for joining us. Let's give Bjorn a round of applause.
Thank you. It was an honor to talk here.